Welcome to Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of 16NTC, the Nonprofit Technology Conference in San Jose, California. This is also part of NTC Conversations. We're in the Convention Center in San Jose, naturally. Where else would we be? And my guest's session topic is fantastic volunteers and where to find them. We're going to meet the guests very shortly. First, I have to do a shout out for the swag item for this interview, which is a very hot item, appreciated by all three women on the panel. It's a red box. It's a red box, one-night rental only. Liza holds her movies longer than a night, so this is no value to her. But Gina and Taryn love it, and it is from Unleashed Technologies. Red box promo code, one night. We add it to the swag pile. And don't walk away with it, ladies. All right, let's meet our guests. Liza Dyer is, first of all, she has the professional designation CVA, Certified in Volunteer Administration. She's a program coordinator for volunteer services at the Multnomah County Library, and Multnomah County encompasses Portland, Oregon. And it's Oregon, not Oregon. There's no E at the end of Oregon. I've learned that many times. Gina Roberti is Community Engagement Manager at Reading Partners, and Taryn Kearns is the AmeriCorps Volunteer Coordinator at Reading Partners, and I started closest to me. So Liza is closest to me, and then it's Gina, and then Taryn. Their topic is, yes, the fantastic volunteers and where to find them. Let's start down the end there, Taryn. What is it that you ladies feel nonprofits are not getting maybe quite right with volunteers? Gina, what's with the faces? Come on. You got to stop. I want you to stop looking at me.
I really liked the question.
Okay. What is it? Well, I'm sorry I directed it for Taryn, but I'll give you the follow-up. If she does a lackluster job at it, then you can add on what she leaves out.
She will do a great job.
Taryn, what are we not getting right about volunteers?
I think there's a couple things that we're not getting quite right about volunteers. Yeah. Perhaps one is retention. A lot of nonprofits struggle with retaining volunteers long-term. At Reading Partners, we retain roughly 30% of our volunteers year to year. It doesn't seem like a lot. The volunteers we do retain are amazing, but we still need to constantly invent new strategies to keep those volunteers engaged, excited, and coming back for more to serve our populations.
So you're retaining 30. It means you're losing 70% of your volunteers each year?
True.
Yeah, that's the same as donor statistics. You know, nonprofits lose 70% of their donors each year. All right. Gina, how did she do?
She did great.
Is there anything you'd like to add to Taryn's assessment of what we're not getting quite right?
Well, she did great.
No, okay.
I actually think
retention. So retention is one problem. Anything else?
Retention's a problem. I actually think we're really fortunate at Reading Partners where we have dedicated staff to focus on volunteer management, and I don't think all nonprofits have the capacity to have paid staff. So I feel like you need people who are focused on volunteers and engaging them, appreciating them, and developing the program. So I feel fortunate at Reading Partners, but I know that's not everywhere. And so I feel like that's what we're getting wrong in the nonprofit world.
Do we have strategies to help people who aren't devoted to volunteer management but have other responsibilities as well? Do we have some ideas for them?
You came to the right place.
We will have some. Okay. Yes. We got 25 minutes together. So, okay, you do have some ideas. Okay. Liza, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so something that really leads into retention is that a lot of nonprofits don't know what they're looking for in a volunteer, so they don't know who they are actually trying to attract before they want to retain them. So they go out and they say, yeah, we'll take anybody. If you believe in our mission, we'll take you. But you don't really focus on what their skill set is, what their knowledge, their background, their availability. And so once you can do that and figure out who your ideal volunteers are, then you can work to engage them and retain them for the long term. But it starts with that first relationship.
Excellent lead in. Let's begin there. How do we identify who the ideal volunteer is?
Yeah, perfect. So something that you can do is create a volunteer persona and figure out who, just like when you do marketing personas or donor personas, you can figure out what are the specific skills that I'm looking for. And all of that can lead into a position description, but you also need to think about, so if I am recruiting somebody who can teach computer classes, who are they? Where are they currently at? What is their availability like? So in Portland, we have a few tech companies, not as many as down here in Silicon Valley, but we have a few. And so, do they have daytime availability? Maybe if they have a corporate responsibility program, they can come and and volunteer during their work time. But if not, well, then you kind of have to tailor your programming, maybe have your computer classes at days and times when volunteers are available.
Okay. What should we be thinking about as we build these personas? What attributes?
Yeah, so you want to think about not just their knowledge and their skills, but also their beliefs or their values. Because if somebody doesn't have alignment in terms of your organization, then you might not be a good match. So on the one hand, if I'm recruiting a bunch of volunteers to stuff envelopes, does it matter that they believe in our mission? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
If I'm recruiting somebody to teach classes, like for example, citizenship classes at Multnomah County Library, I'm going to want somebody who believes in the things that we do and making sure that they have a welcoming personality that can make sure that people feel welcome, and also that they believe in the concept of intellectual freedom. So people can come in, use the library, we're not judging them, we're not censoring anything, we believe people should have free access to information.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't believe that, we're not a good fit for that.
Gina, are there other attributes, variables we can ascribe to our volunteer personas?
I think Liza covered a lot of it really well.
Well, okay, the age, we didn't talk about age.
Oh, more
I mean,
specifics.
simple, yeah.
Well, I think it just varies per volunteer opportunities. Like at Reading Partners, we have one type of volunteer that we look for. So, and for us, it's 14 to retired is the age range in which people can
That's a pretty broad
engage.
age.
So we have a bigger audience that we can recruit for.
Yeah.
But we also we have volunteer opportunities Monday through Thursday between 9 and 5. So what Liza was saying is, here in Silicon Valley, it works for us because there's a lot of companies and they have huge corporate social responsibility departments who help, connect us to the companies. But oftentimes we'll find high schoolers, they're over-programmed and, they're only available between 3 and 5. Or people who don't have the same corporate culture of volunteerism, they want to do evenings and weekends, and that doesn't necessarily fit for Reading Partners.
Right, that doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Other strategies for finding the ideal volunteer, Taryn, besides the the volunteer persona? Did you talk about others in your did you do your program yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you
We
did.
did.
Okay, 10:30. Yeah. Were there other ideas, or have we exhausted that part of it?
No, I think that there's so much to talk about as far as strategies go. If we want to get into that, separate from identifying the ideal volunteer. Okay, great. So based on each type of volunteer that you're looking for, you need to really assess the community as far as what kind of resources, either online or actually in person, are around you. It's helpful to be so aware of what schools are around, maybe if any clubs meet at local coffee shops during the day. So as you get that information and create either a visual layout or just have it in your mind, you can start to target those locations for either long-term volunteer opportunities or short-term and fill those needs, match those volunteers who are available at certain times and have different interests with the needs of your organization.
So what are we going to do? We're going to go into the coffee shop and start talking up Reading Partners and whatever our organization is? Is that?
It may be. A strategy for the coffee shop.
What if there's a no solicitation sign on the door? Is that?
Well, we would probably have to obey by that sign. But most places you feel like, or you go into a place and it's a gut feeling that you get if they're open to connecting community members with local opportunities.
Okay, I'll go along with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Right. Okay. Other strategies? Anybody? I don't necessarily have to pick on you, or you don't have to raise your hands. Anybody? Go ahead, Liza.
Yeah, another thing that you can do is you can survey your staff and find out who have been the most successful volunteers in the past. And so if you say, pick your top 10% that you would say, I want these people and I want to clone them and I want to have volunteers at that level only. What is it about them?
Yeah,
so
excellent.
is it their age? Are they retired? Are they high school students so they have a lot of technical know-how? Or is it somebody who has, they are willing to just do what needs to get done? Like if you have a clerical volunteer, you don't need somebody to go above and beyond necessarily. You just need them to be reliable, dependable, and get the work done. So who are the volunteers who have been the most successful? And then you can use that to create your ideal volunteer, and then you can specifically target your recruitment for that type of person.
Yeah, and plus you this ideal volunteer that you want to clone, how do we find her?
Yeah.
Who does she know? How could she connect us to people like her?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Okay. Excellent. We got other, before we go online, I know you have online strategies too. We're not there yet. Other offline, real-time, face-to-face strategies for recruitment? These are excellent.
I'd like to build upon that point you just made about how can you talk to someone that's your perhaps ideal volunteer, maybe someone that's already volunteering for you, and get that person to talk to their friends about opportunities. Peer-to-peer volunteer recruitment is one of the most successful strategies because if you have someone that's already volunteering for an organization, and they can vouch for
they're going to tell you
their
how awesome it is. It's,
exactly.
It's fun. I'm teaching kids and they're learning and it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're much more likely to want to even just try it out and see if it's a right fit for you.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that using people's personal networks, leveraging those to create further connections is so useful.
Excellent. It works for Reading Partners. Do you get a lot of your volunteers through existing volunteers? Yeah.
We do.
Meltdown at the public library
absolutely.
too? Okay. Anything else we should talk about? Offline? Real world?
Yeah, something that I saw actually in a cafe in Nashville, Tennessee, was a table number sign. You place your order and you get a table number sign that has your number.
In a restaurant? Or
yeah,
in a library?
it was in a restaurant.
Okay,
right?
in a restaurant.
And so I get my table number and it's 2 or whatever. And the rest of it is actually
what
a brochure.
kind of restaurant was it? Barbecue, Tennessee? Or
No, it was like a healthy, vegan kind of place. Yeah. Cool. So they have those in Tennessee as well.
Yeah, no. There's one. You were at the one.
Yeah, I was at the one and only.
They have it, and you were at it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I get my number sign, and it has the number, but it also has a brochure about a dog rescue nonprofit. And it was specifically
on the back of the number tent.
It was sticking up out of a metal holder. And so on both sides, it had information about volunteering.
Oh, great partnership.
Absolutely.
Okay. Have any of you done that successfully with local businesses where they'll basically let you have your solicitation materials?
No, but
in the
Liza
restaurant,
did mention that to us, and that is on my list of things that we will do next here in Silicon Valley.
You got some places in mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Next interview, I'll update you.
Okay. You're presuming you're going to be back. Don't be presumptuous. We'll determine that in a couple minutes. Okay. That's excellent. You ladies are full of ideas. Anything else offline? I don't mind if we talk more offline before we go online. Nothing else? Real world?
I think one more thing is
another
in-person strategy is inserting yourself, the organization, into local community events. Say the community center is having a resource fair for nonprofits, maybe a homeowners association or any other business to come and have a free table, talk about what they do, connect people that are interested from the community. That's a wonderful way, and often you can basically get a free space to just either recruit volunteers or spread organizational visibility.
Yeah.
Once you create a presence for yourself and you start going to these types of events and meeting the same people over and over, they'll say, okay, I actually remember seeing this logo. I remember seeing your face. You're here, and I like it.
Right. And there are community organizations, like maybe a Chamber of Commerce or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Taryn, I don't know if you know, but Gina agrees with very much of what you say. A lot of nodding.
I see the
You
nodding.
must work very closely together.
We do.
She approves of everything. I know you don't nod when she speaks, though. So you're very disapproving of
Mentally
her
nodding
ideas.
here.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh, okay, we believe you. Okay. Okay, so let's go online. Who wants to start? Gina, why don't you start? You in the middle.
Yes.
Some online strategies you have for recruiting volunteers. Awesome, fantastic volunteers. Yes.
That's a very good question. So I would say, speaking for us at Reading Partners, we have actually always had our typical social media pieces of Facebook, right? And this year, our specific region has utilized Twitter more. And I think we have just skimmed the surface as to what we can do with our online recruitment. We definitely pay for Facebook ads and things of that nature, and it has been extremely helpful.
It's working?
It's working, but you know what the problem is with that is that you need more money in order to make that happen.
Yeah,
So it took a while to get some movement, and as soon as we got movement, we realized, our budget is depleting. We had to go for the second movement, and now it's like, what is it going to look like to continue the ads and things of that nature?
Okay.
So
you were spending more than $15 or $20.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
And what does that look like? We have 14 regions, and we all need ads in our regions. And what does that look like for our marketing budget, right?
Okay.
So.
All right. So Facebook ads, but they've been valuable. You've
Most
gotten
definitely.
the payoff. Yeah.
Yep.
Liza, how about you at Multnomah Public?
Yeah, so we utilize all our social channels as well. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, also Flickr. We post photos there as well. And something that some of our volunteers participate in is called a MCL Helpie. So MCL, Multnomah County Library. Helpie is a selfie that you take while you're helping or volunteering, right? So
very good.
Yeah.
All right.
So every year we have a summer reading program, and to encourage kids to read all year long. And we have 800 volunteers, close to 800 volunteers for that program, 90% of which are under the age of 18 years old. So
90% are under 18.
yes.
All right.
And those are our
Wow.
volunteers. That's, the participants. We have over 110,000 participants just for the summer reading program. So we were looking for a way to engage our summer reading volunteers, many of whom have smartphones and want to take selfies. And so we encourage them, hey, take a selfie while you're at the library, hashtag it this, or, put it on Instagram and show your friends what you're doing this summer. And so that can be a way to recruit volunteers and get them to show their other friends what they're doing for the summer.
What are we doing in the channels, whether it's Facebook ads or Instagram, or whatever, to advertise the volunteer possibilities? What are we saying? What are we showing, etc.? Who structures the ads
We
there?
have a great regular Facebook campaign at Reading Partners, which each week we have a feature called Thank a Tutor Tuesday. We feature a picture of the tutor in question and the student they work with if both have photo permission. Don't use real names in many instances, but it gives a glimpse into either them working together or them doing something fun together, maybe during a spirit week with some funny props of what it looks like for them to be volunteers, and also match that with a quote from them about their volunteer experience. And it lets them speak from their own perspective and give people that do follow us on social media a chance to say, okay, maybe I could do this and work with a student that looks super happy and cute with their tutor.
Right. Okay. Must be other stuff we can talk about online before we go to the next topic. What else?
Yeah, so at Multnomah County Library, we have a monthly volunteer spotlight, which is not a new thing. Many organizations have monthly volunteer spotlights to showcase what their volunteers are doing. And what that is it doubles as both a recognition tool and a recruitment tool, because you are recognizing the volunteer by saying, hey, you are so great that we want to talk about you and we want to post, this blog on our website. And then we share it on our social media channels. But also when other people see that, they see, oh, that's what a volunteer does who, is teaching a citizenship class or is delivering books to homebound patrons. I'm interested in that, not just learning about somebody else doing it, but maybe I can do that too. And so it doubles as recognition and recruitment.
Yeah, excellent. All right. I like, what is it, Thank a Tutor Tuesday? At Reading Partners? Your own hashtag? All right. Was that your idea?
I think it was a collective decision.
Okay. I like alliterations. So on this show, I send live listener love because the show streams live. I have podcast pleasantries for the podcast listeners. I have affiliate affections for the AM and FM station listeners. So I do Tony's Take Two. I'm over the moon with, as listeners of the show will know, with alliterations. Okay. Where else should we go? So we offline. Anything else? We want to talk about online on the networks? The online networks? Go ahead, Gina.
I want to say, I don't know if we even mentioned this, but we definitely use at Reading Partners, volunteer match and, volunteer recruitment websites to get a good amount of our tutors.
You want to shout out some of the ones that you use that are helpful?
Why am I drawing a blank? So we definitely use Craigslist, volunteer match. Is it Idealist? Idealist. We've done the Volunteer Center, which is more local to the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
But we're on many and all, and especially more local, centered Silicon Valley pages.
Okay.
And that's been a huge help
Okay.
for those who know where to go or choose to go to those kinds of pages for volunteer opportunities.
Yeah. All right. Liza, at Multnomah?
We use Volunteer Match and also Hands On Greater Portland, which is part of the Hands On Network through Points of Light. And so Hands On Greater Portland is more focused on the Portland metro area.
Yeah.
Volunteer Match, of course, you can search through, different areas, but is more national. And so both are great because with Volunteer Match, if you get people who move to Portland, we have a lot of people moving to Portland, then they already know about Volunteer Match from their past community, and so they just switch to Portland. And so we find a lot of people who move to the area are looking through Volunteer Match postings and finding us. And even if they're not interested in the specific position that we're recruiting for, they will then be drawn to our website, find something else, apply, and then become a volunteer.
Yeah, Gina.
I want to mention one more that is probably giving us some success because it's fairly new. It's next door. And for when you're trying to engage the community, when a current volunteer for us lives in the community in which we're serving and they post about it, it's that peer-to-peer, but a larger network of community members that maybe we'd never even touch, which has been a really cool thing to try out and figure out.
It's called what? Next
door.
Next door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Another one that I haven't used for recruitment yet, but I've seen people who are seeking volunteer opportunities use is Reddit. So I have a Google search alert for anything mentioning volunteer Portland, Oregon. And it's just a way to be aware of what's going on in the area. And so something will come up and somebody will say, post on Reddit for the Portland Reddit channel.
I think Gina likes her idea. She's about to put it in her notes on her phone. Yes.
And
Stealing.
so,
Wow, we always steal the best ideas. Yeah. Okay.
and so they, they'll post, hey, I'm looking for a volunteer position.
Right.
Where can I go? And then people talk about, hey, you should try the Oregon Food Bank. You should try Free Geek, which refurbishes, older computers and gets them into the hands of people who need them. And so those are probably the two that I see most often is the Oregon Food Bank and Free Geek, but then other ones will say, oh, well, I'm really wanting to volunteer at an environmental organization, so somebody might recommend Friends of Trees or something like that. So, and that's another thing is that with Oregon Food Bank, you can, I've personally volunteered there, so I'm a huge fan. I had a birthday party there. I had a volunteer birthday where I volunteered and then went.
Puns on the other side I really don't care for, unless I think of them first.
All right.
It has to be mine for it to be funny. So
Yeah.
Volunteer.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
And so volunteering at the Oregon Food Bank, posting a Helpie onto Twitter and Instagram, and then we went to a place called Oregon Public House, which is a nonprofit pub in Portland, and had beer.
Okay.
And so with any of those, I can then go online and say, hey, have you tried Oregon Food Bank? Because they're great, and here's why.
Right. All right. Let's move to some of the partnerships. I think my voice just broke. But 13 years old. But partnerships. You talk about finding and cultivating partnerships. Now, we just touched on this very lightly. We're talking about the possibility of what I mentioned, chambers of commerce. Taryn, you were talking about local organizations. Is there more we can say about finding and cultivating these partnerships to find volunteers? Who wants to volunteer to talk about partnership volunteering opportunities?
I can certainly speak
Go
to
ahead,
that
Taryn. Okay.
briefly.
No, knock it
It's
out.
more of Gina's area of expertise. She
didn't say anything. No, sorry.
had quite the experience cultivating partnerships, but it's important to follow. I don't know if you need to call it a strict list of partnership planning steps, but have an idea of first what you can offer or what your strengths are as an organization, and then see what that potential partner can also offer you. So making sure the relationship is mutually beneficial. If you want to move forward with more of a formal agreement in the future, make sure both parties are really going to get what they want out of it.
All right.
And along the way, go ahead.
What types of organizations are we talking about? You have some examples?
Yeah, we have one of our strongest partnerships in the Silicon Valley region of Reading Partners is with the department at San Jose State University here locally. It's Child and Adolescent Development, and they're students who go through several different classes learning about various stages of child development, and they come to us. We have a program tailored to their needs as far as a service learning requirement, and their program and syllabus is actually tailored to our curriculum and tutoring.
So local college, you could look at college,
college.
university. You got another example of successful partnership organization? What
a new partnership we have just going on is with actually a food truck collective that's all over the Bay
that
Area.
should be Portland. Oh,
I
I'm
know,
surprised it's not
right?
Portland. Yeah.
Food trucks are great
There's a whole
there.
terminology around trucks, which I have forgotten since I was there, but a cluster, what was it?
A pod.
A pod, right, that's right, a pod, yes,
I
exactly.
haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's a cluster of trucks, but
Yeah.
you don't call it a cluster or a collection, you call it a pod.
But they're carts there.
Right, they're
Food carts.
They're carts, not trucks.
right.
Oh, that's right, that's why I'm getting that wrong too. They're not trucks, they're carts. But you would never say I'm going to the pod of carts. You would just say I'm going to the
No.
pod. You just say going to the pod.
I mean, you might say that, but I wouldn't.
I would, right.
We don't have
Yeah.
carts here in Silicon Valley yet.
Well, they're trucks, but,
Oh.
but they call them carts.
Oh, okay.
They're trucks. They're right. I mean, they're
A
trucks.
lot of times they're trailers, though. Really,
Right.
that you can't drive them; they just have to hitch onto something.
But either way, they're called carts.
Mhm.
I'm going to the carts.
Yep.
Or the pod, but not the pod of carts.
No.
You would not say that's redundant. You would be laughed out of Portland. Okay.
Interesting.
We got to wrap this up in a few. Actually, this went fast. All right. We got about another minute or so. Let's focus on the partnerships. What was the one you were just mentioned? The new one you were starting?
Yeah, it's called
The,
Off the Grid Food Trucks.
Off the
and
Grid.
Yeah, they
Okay.
have a very important emphasis on community in their markets. So we are able to get an in with one of their markets in San Jose, and we're going to have a regular appearance at their Sunday food truck gathering. And
All right.
it's great.
Let me turn to Liza. You have any successful partnership type organizations?
Yeah, so at Multnomah County Library, we don't have too many formal partnerships in terms of volunteer, but we do reach out to there's a local cohort of library students from Emporia University, and so they meet here or in Portland, and so we can send information about the different volunteer positions that we have for them, and then they can come and get engaged. There's also a library media specialist program, I believe, at Portland Community College, and so we can easily reach out to them.
Another college.
Mhm.
Okay, so look at civic organizations. As Taryn, you were saying, like-minded organizations where there are potential volunteers. All right, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up there. All right, ladies? Sound good?
Sounds
Sounds
great.
good.
Excellent. Unison. Oh, my goodness. Amazing. What a remarkable panel. Okay, Liza Dyer. I have to turn. I know she's with Multnomah County Library. I know that, MCL. But she's a CVA, Certified in Volunteer Administration, and the Program Coordinator for Volunteer Services. And next to her in the middle is Gina Roberti, Community Engagement Manager at Reading Partners, and Taryn Kearns, AmeriCorps Volunteer Coordinator, also at Reading Partners. Ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tony.
Excellent. Lots of ideas. Lots of good resources, too. I love the tools. Tony Martignetti, nonprofit radio coverage of NTC 16. 16 NTC, of course, is the hashtag. But it all stands for the Nonprofit Technology Conference in 2016 at the San Jose Convention Center. Thank you so much for being with us.